ENDSIEG, The Second Coming by Elfriede Jelinek, translated by Gitta Honegger. It is January 20th, 2025. For 1 hour, the inauguration of Donald Trump has been in progress in Washington, D.C. Elfriede Jelinek, her translator Gitta Honegger, and Milo Rau decided together that Jelinek's most recent text for the theater that tackles Donald Trump's re-election should be read on this occasion. Simultaneously from Mosul, located in northern Iraq, the former Nineveh, the oldest city in the world, the capital of the ancient high cultures, and from New York, located in the United States of America, the capital city of the so-called West. While Donald Trump stages himself in Washington, we stage nothing. We play nothing. We illustrate nothing. This first global reading of a text by Elfriede Jelinek is an act of shared reflection. But it is also an act of resistance. Part of the Resistance Now campaign, in whose name 200 European cultural institutions joined together to fight the destruction of the fundamental rights and freedom of opinion by the new authoritarianism. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world, it says in The Second Coming by William Butler Yeats. The list of the invited guests for Donald Trump's inauguration is at the same time a list of the apocalyptic rioters of the old continent, of the extreme right, Giorgia Meloni, Viktor Orban, Nigel Farage, Eric Zemmour. All of them are on the guest list of the King, who celebrates in Washington his second coming, his final victory, his ENDSIEG. Introduction by Elfriede Jelinek. The substitute class consciousness of the déclassé is fascism, which ultimately is hostile to the state. It grows everywhere and covers everything like a blanket of snow. It coats all classes. If anyone feels they cannot belong to anything or anybody, there is still a brittle patriotism that deceptively unites everything. This is what Donald Trump accomplished. Make America great again. The personal magnetism for the masses, which will survive everything, even the heat death of the universe, remains a riddle to me. I already wrote about Trump's first presidency to understand this mechanism. I can't. But writing about things I don't understand is what I love most. And the danger is ceaseless. Because these authoritarian endeavors are also increasingly popular in Europe. Since Trump's first term was already incomprehensible to me, his second candidacy after his attempted coup was even more incomprehensible. At that time, I wrote a kind of preliminary version about the incomprehensible, which I used now for my final text, the end text. For ENDSIEG, the final victory, I don't even have a conceptual structure in which I could place it. The text is like the strings of a harp which someone plucks, but I no longer understand what is behind it or how it functions. Sadly, I hear how it sounds. A poem is recited, which is the following. Don't turn around. You're followed by a column of black ships, done up with flags, done up the women, moving up the beautiful rolling waves. The Lord makes them big, bigger than ever. The women also do it, and this is how it shall be for all of us together. Perfect. Das Volk, the people, always perfect, always welcome. It says what it wants. It already said it to us, no worries. And look, They stay up there. They stay on top. Their heads are above the water again. In the foam which they secrete, that's their element. Otherwise, they would drown. So now we know they did not go down. It also may stay as it was, the people, das Volk. It will be great again, all of it. Foam on top of the waves, which are coming and not going, yet nonetheless, so transitory. Human beings who get abused, passed off as garbage, or just offed, but they also off themselves. On the shores, it is piling up already, the sea of the suppressed, who finally are allowed to press on themselves from below to above, and then all the more from above to below. Wherever it is pressing, there is the Volk. We are here. Now we'll soon be freer, safer, healthier. The Lord will soon arrive. Oh, I see he's already here. I was not mistaken. I did hear the door open. This Lord who will embrace and kiss it, the people. What demon destroyed it so cruelly, this Volk? They did not need a demon at all, but they got him. In the west, there they approach out from below the snow-covered rock. Those being led, those being had. The pressure gets passed on from both sides. It also pushes from below. All might wake up with the cries of woe. They are already awake. It's rolling. The waves roll. Already it can no longer be stopped. The pressure is passed on from all sides. All will awake with the sounds of woe. The waves' enormous columns roll in, roaring. It can no longer be restrained. Who would have thought so? Well, I did. And it came true. 2. Now, there are already several peoples, several Völker, all peaceful now and pleasant. We won't need trenches anymore, not in front of the court either, and not 1,000 ships of believers, which are cutting through the water, plowing it up, sowing themselves into it, stirring it to stir up the masses as well. Yes, the masses also came. They brought with them their tribally bonded blood so that it won't get polluted by foreigners, for the newest detergent for sensitive skin that does not leave behind irritating residue. The ships lie deep, the pilots fly deep. A bullet whistled and everybody followed it. All of those who, once again, aren't even worth a whistle. They just don't know it yet. An umpire fired the starting gun and then quickly blew the whistle. The winner was already preordained. Everyone knew it. 3. The palace resounds with steps back and forth. The way it has been forever, it will go on forevermore, according to the hymn. Eternity starts now, dated as of today. Eyes turn forward, color rises in the cheek. Done. The down stayed down, a tough hand made a grab for them. What there is will be distributed to friends, the only human breed that still exists, freer, safer, healthier, richer. I stand against it. Not with me. I say nothing exists anymore. The other does not exist anymore. There is nothing to look at. There is only the one. 4. And the bullet, too. It took the liberty. It whizzed by and took a piece with it, and that's all it got. Now that it had gone and done it, everyone wanted a part of it or be part of him. No, it only scratched the bullet. It was happy to cut into that bark. Now it is recorded. The spot is marked eternally. The bullet has nothing planned. It is in a hurry and can't accomplish much more. Someone's shaking his dusty hair, the snow blonde hair. Blondes always win. They must win. Advantage blondes. The champs, not only in Germany, champ everywhere. Your golden hair, your ashen hair. Shulamit, you lost. You are fired. Your flesh is not welcome here, and no one else either. The man now lives in the house. The man takes possession of his house. The bullet knew it already before its target. Without the band-aid, it can no longer be seen. With or without the band-aid, no one sees anything. Not the shore underneath, not the face above the band-aid, painted with chalk, fearing the rain, the disappearance. We drink milk. The man now lives in the house. We drink milk every day because that's all there is. We drink milk every day because we can. And the flesh finally gives in. It always must give in. It only has itself as protection. That which gives now without a giver, the givers give to others. They much prefer taking, but to him, to this man, they give more. They make him big like his land. No, bigger. The land runneth over with him, and he runneth over the shores. He who has been placed above humans, a chosen one, a God incarnate. They give prayers for the land to get even bigger, so that folks don't lie so confined in their graves, so that they have room. But there's only water where it ends. Who's got the biggest? No, that grave we don't want. We dig our own. 5. The land is almost entirely surrounded by water, and where it remains hard, unyielding, unproductive, a wall will soon go up. Where it is too hard to dig, will soon blow up. Just you wait, soon. No one can stop it anymore. A fence which supports and lovingly encloses it, the land, and makes it feel safe. More can be done. That dear land, it had to suffer so much. Now there's an end to suffering. Now the crowd screams like an animal that wants to get out of the cage. And what the crowd wants, it gets. The cage is open. The enemies, the hostile princes, are forced back behind a retaining wall. The warriors are questions. One gets hit with a leaden bullet or whatever it is made of. It hits inaccurately, but well enough. 6. They demolish each other. They devour each other. They are trying it. How dear this image is to me. I used it already many times. 2 serpents, both erect and entwined in each other, simply devouring each other, just like that. One last time. Come right up to me, all of you. But we are here already, many are saying. They don't have much more say anymore. No longer familiar to any people, any nation, this form which it created itself, a people's beautiful features. Someone's oozing out of it. I can't see it from all the shit in its head, from blood, from being drunk on itself. No, we drink and drink. We wipe our mouth. We wash our hands. 7. Still more water coming down. The looks of the delegates, heavy-footed they arrived, lighter-footed they departed. Their goal is behind them. Luckily, like the bullet, there is such raging as if the goal were someone else, some other dick shit. In solitary torment, the looks now are ejected forcefully. They want to get something for being here today, for putting out right here, for terrifying the others with words and battle roar. Those are just words, but what kind? Select words others spat out before them. They picked them up, thinking that it was they who lost them. Calls, as if of vultures resound, eagles join in, whose young ones have been robbed. They eat you alive. Immediately they draw their circles high above the nest, the Adlerhorst, the eagle's nest, where their fate has been decided and is decided now. It hit the mark right on. It hit us. We were the goal, the target. But we also aimed at the others. It doesn't matter now. Unholy hands throw away the sword. Eternal peace threatens because then everything stays as is. Just one more time, still more times, freer, safer, healthier. 8. For us, screaming nestlings. Not even the scream will they permit us. The scream swept the bullet away. But this God does not die away. He doesn't even have to resurrect. He is still erect. He is still hard, says. He gets slandered, libeled, but still stands there with his Bible just to show you. He's coming up for air. He takes a breath of totally new air, which, however, is the old one, so that finally a different wind is blowing. More air, please. Here it is. Cheers. It is the second time around that the fun starts for real, you'll see. Underneath us, this hole, when did you last look into what was going on under you? Oh God, you supernatural one above us, our whole dear homeland has sunk into a hole. What can one say? Should we take the hole somewhere else? You just have to say it, so then do something. A hole of which we don't have an overview, looking into the depth we avoid, rising in front of the tabernacle with the only Redeemer, whom we now are getting back again. Everyone gets a piece of him. After this Lord had disappeared for a few years because he was stolen from us. We say it as it is. He was taken away from us. Now he's here again. Nine. Let us turn away. The gates of this land of sorrow are unlatched. We see here the opponent writhing in his blood, so it is said. Opponents everywhere. But we are totally peaceful. We don't attack. We get attacked and must defend ourselves. In the womb of the masses lies the outcome of this campaign. The masses are like a mother to themselves. The masses are a woman who, after all, produced these human masses. Let's not be childish. But we are children. So then Why not? The crown of thorns has been removed. The God is now recognizable to those who always were his, but did not know why. Excuse me, but we certainly have the right to mention our religion, and not always only the ones that loves to kill the people. Of course, that God who on every street corner can give you change for peace with war, which he feeds on, often on screen, even though he can't be shown. Ours will show his appreciation, even of those who do not acknowledge him, those he will know best. He'll keep an eye on them. They've been earmarked, but there will be no consequences. For our God, no one must get his hands dirty. For the other one, his followers have their hands full. The other birds raise their heads to heaven. Oh my God, eternal peace I create for you, says the Lord. No, not this one, the other. What I leave you is peace. No problem. I give you my peace. A peace such as the world cannot give to you. Only I can do that. I repeat, peace I leave you. Peace I give to you, and that is everywhere. There will be eternal peace all over the world, which will go hand in hand with prosperity. They always go together. They have known each other forever, though they never arrive. The address was kept a secret from them, so now they just get going, but don't know where to, and they distribute something to some who scrape the fiddle more darkly. 10. The eagles are screaming again. We'll get you all right. The eagles will land shortly. Step back from the border, or else they'll get you, or else the war will get you. It will catch up with you. It will cash in on you again, and you wouldn't want that. The money we poured into war will now pour into peace. We're really looking forward. Peace will get you too, but elsewhere. Stay where you are, or it won't find you. You are in the wrong place here. Peace nowhere in sight. It hasn't arrived yet. We can't be saved, let alone save anything right now. The water rises higher and higher, but at least people no longer talk so highfalutin. They finally say what's what. They always say so, but we didn't understand them. They always say the same thing. Why? Because they are right. And that's the truth. He didn't see it coming, that bullet, and he didn't see anything else coming either. Not the other candidate, a woman, who's already gone again. They always go away, women, and it takes an eternity until they finally come. He likes what else he has in mind. He's got all the time in the world now, which belongs to him alone. As our guy saw her go, no, the bullet, he knows what he can take of it. He can make plows and cutlery out of it. He can make weapons for at home, for violence, which can be used easily at home. But he doesn't do that. To each his bullet, that he can do. That works. You too will soon shake in your boots. He sold you with fitting caps to better walk all over you, while you lick his boots and he pulls out his straps to boot. That's what you get for blowing your tops. Just so you watch for the sneakers, he screams. The bullet might take something along, something of the flesh of his flesh. It doesn't take much. Instead, now he's taking us along. He orders us, strike up a dance. He's not the fastest runner. He's no Achilles by no means, but he's a good dancer. He sways with himself. He weighs remarkable pounds, which are on the other side of the scale pan. 11. The eagle is crying now. He cries for his children. He, the old new king, does not cry. His flesh can take it. With immediate effect, it can take anything. You can see it. He looks it. He doesn't have to visit his dreams anymore. They realize themselves independently, on their own. They are no work for him, are right in front of him. He sees. Those were not dreams at all. A man like he does not dream. He also lives in his dream. And how? This here, what is it? The pile. What is it? Those are corpses of people surrounded by other people lamenting because they have nothing better to do. You put an end to all of this. Everything. Everything must end anyway. Now everything must turn around. The world will be, I repeat for the last time, cross my heart, freer, safer, healthier, more wonderful with every day. Who knows what it might be? Okay. So he will end violence, which nobody has any use for anyway, let's be honest, or he will turn it against his enemies. You surely see it like that too, don't you? It makes no difference anyway. He likes to end things because he doesn't like to work. I tell it like it is. You won't have to dress warm anymore because he will stay naked, the emperor. We don't mind. It's easier that way. When another disaster will be revealed again, in front of which we then will stand, speechless and cold. 12th. The eyelids squeeze closely in one's sleep, which will once again bring forth monsters. Rakatak-tak. Here they come already. No, it's not yet them. This is a man who puts the week's groceries into the trunk and then seats his wife in the front so that he knows where the front is, so that he will remember. This is where he must drive. This is where we're headed. We forgot the breakfast flakes. We've got to go back. Let's hope they aren't melted yet, the frosties. And you, Lord God, could also thaw for once. Relax. The smile of a god can clear up any forehead. Exactly above his eyebrows. That is where he rages. Easy to see. Everyone sees it. In words and violence. In the violence of words. In the violence without words. In the violence of the words and in the popular anti-wrinkle poison. And now it has happened. He still stares into the TV where he stars. He's worried. If his ear will hold up. Yes, it holds up. Will the outcome hold up? Yes, it holds up. It has the screaming in a tight strange hold and presses it to the ground. Those who were still on top are the suckers now. That's how fast it can go. Serves them right. Why are they screaming so much? Now the ruler can't hear his own words. That's how his words hold on to him, that he can't hear them anymore. He drops them like hot potatoes. The crowd catches everything, they latch onto it all. They wrap it in crap with gravy. He is their main course. A court has confirmed it, after all. And you? What are you still doing here? You must now endure whatever bane he sends you. You'll also endure bigger disasters. Just listen to him. He speaks as if in his sleep, like his opponent, a woman whom we don't have to remember anymore, who can no longer counter him and never could. He's not too old, not too weak, not too sick, not too smart, not too stupid. Go ahead, please. Come on in. Whoever is what he is not is welcome here. Luckily, we don't know what he is. We only know whom we want to make the ruler over us. 13. This master lost his opponent, his slave. You can't find him at the moment. All of us will be slaves. Everyone tears from their bones the withering flesh. Old they are themselves, and the young are young. They know it themselves. Everyone is who they are, and likewise, it is as it is, huh? What do you think about that? The king says that now he will most certainly return. Now all the more. And there he is. The new opponent he doesn't even recognize, but he knows that this opponent is insane, absolutely insane. That's what he says. Yes, exactly. He says it about a woman, a crackling mad woman, a grinning monkey, doesn't even know her skin color by heart. Though she looks in the mirror all the time, always claims a different one when asked. And that is exactly what she is and always will be, different. Just with wider teeth than we. They just can't bite. The eagle screams again, and the screams of people follow him. There is this tremendous noise we have known for a long time. It drops out everything. We know it and appreciate it. 14. They missed the last crucifixion, but they're now all part of it. They are witnesses and will surely encounter the king on their next walk. The disciples will encounter and recognize him or not. Someone is already putting his hand into the wound but gets dragged away. We don't want to hear about wounds today on this day of triumph. Whatever you died of, don't say anything now because we are already know it. We know what you're saying and going to say. We're voting ourselves, and therefore we vote for ourselves. We elected ourselves. We didn't have to look at the ballot. We are children to talk to blind old folks. We're old folks who talk to deaf children. All of them are talking at once, but the result is the same. With royal gifts, the winner is welcomed in the house. There are no more pursuers. He is the lord of money. More one cannot be. But the money can always be more. How about a little more? People don't count, only money counts. Whose master he is, because he made himself into it and was also made of it by dark foreigners whom we shall never meet. They hold their hands under his soles and heave him up, heave ho! 15. Our devoted pursuer close behind us, still devoted but surely soon devious, referred to as the specter below. Someone painted on the wall warningly, rather than speaking of his vice, but bigger he is than the boss, the current winner. So then our followers might not even follow us. He follows completely different types who haven't turned around for him once, not twice. They know who he is. They always know where he is. We also turn around and see nothing. We see nobody and nothing. Our follower simply doesn't follow. He doesn't want to follow all the rules, and that's his vice. I don't know where he is now, but I know he's here. 16. Okay, so where was I? Because you constantly interrupt asking me things I don't know either. But mind you, the white dove for the king arrived and has already gone again. You can read about it in a moment. Pity. We would have loved to take a selfie. Even better, a lot of them, so that everyone knows the king was here. He's here again, because he was here once already. He's here and gone. The disciples will acquire a peaked cap with his catchy phrase that he will come again, and lo and behold, he is already. Well, that must go on your head now. But it's not worth it anymore being younger. The king doesn't need this anymore. He doesn't need to become younger. A younger one stands ready already, right behind him. He already steps on his heels. He's more than ready to walk the ride through the old king, like a hot knife through brittle bones. The land is big enough for him, now and forever. Currently, it is still open to anything who knows for how long. Young or old, it's all the same. It's all his. The king owns it all. 17. He belongs to everybody. Pity. We wanted him for ourselves only, but he belongs to all. Now he belongs to the world. Do we really want a guilt-stained man in this position? We do, and also we'll get him. We don't see his guilt at all. Not his infamous marital bond. We considered him a native who does not permit vagabonds to shack up among us. Trusting him, we put our hand on this good catch. We might not have done it had he not threatened us that without him, we won't get ahead. We'll get nowhere. See only pain and sorrow everywhere, and only the dead would not be touched by misery. 18. All others he will beat. He is old, but all others he still can beat, whole in one. And that is his way. What do you think? Do you think I'll get a free lunch here? No way. And not cheaper either, the others. All the others he can still beat, from resurrection to resurrection, forever and ever. He just has to keep an eye on the watch. On the one coast, it is different from the other. Therefore, he must resurrect more often. Every state wants its savior after all. Like ebb and flow against the sea, they also keep coming. Even I understand this. Here with us, it is day, while you are still benighted. And now he will safely escort his disciples through the crowd that will divide before them on its own. No need to divide and conquer. The crowds can take care of this. Any other are not around anymore. They didn't get in. The crusade is over. Now it's high time to crucify. 19. The shepherds of nations rise, the king once again not among them, but he will come. He'll make his appearance shortly, it is said. The havoc he wreaks, he won't run into himself. His father's soul deceased does not contradict him. Nobody contradicts him. Fawningly, everyone heralds his fame. He won. He kept his herd together. He wasn't hanged for a sheep or a lamb, for that matter. Instead, he could feather his nest all the better. He shepherds separately. He is with the wolves. He's not with the sheep. The helpless will go first. We'll do away with those. We besiege God with prayers so that everyone knows by what breed of man this land will be led, and who will be helped sustainably, and who then must get out instantly. Upright is the man who is your master. He does not help the helpless. He helps those who don't need help. 20. The eagles shriek again. No one says stop. Nobody tells it anything. Somebody's got to say stop. But this one drives through everything, every stop sign. Somewhere there's a big crash again. No idea. No, nobody here. Only he's still here, but he withdrew. There's something, somebody we set in motion, but where is he? Just now he's been talking to us. His wife at his side, who is everything, but certainly not his mother. Any minute, her face will tear right through the middle. That's how taut it is. We are tantalized. Maybe we'll see it happen. Nobody can stop this lucky strike anymore. Least of all, nobody. Thus he stands, the Prince of Heaven, the golden locks, or whatever that is, covering an old and new wounds. He doesn't seem to wonder that he wasn't even wounded then. What's there to wonder? It was a miracle. Amen to that. The noblest furors around him now, a golden flock, gold plated long ago. Yes, also the armor around their chest. Peace, it says on their license plate. But do they know it too? Do they know what to do, where to go with all those battles? Yes, sure. Why not? Gilded also the plume on the sparkling hair helmet. Everything else on him they'll also gild. Want to bet? Around him they stand, and he'll be coming momentarily. It is his moment. A wandering, no, wounded God at the center. When the doctor, quickly sent for, maybe already present all the time, just to be sure, got to see the wound of the quickly passing bullet, he sucked his blood. No, he did not suck any blood. That's what the king leaves to the other bloodsuckers who want to weaken our workers so that he will become a strong Führer and also stay one at their expense. Those, however, believe that the powerful will rather pursue boars or bouncing balls than them. Not with us. We are not the elect, but with us, elections are won. We wanted to finally make a clean sweep. Nobody tells the truth, but we are telling it all the time. It's just that no one noticed. That helped him, no doubt. Now he stays with us, unhindered, unless he dies before, and then his specter will be called into action, his shadow, who will cover all of us until we suffocate in it, because money needs no people. It needs only itself. This shadow goes in front and throws with people, not the other way around. And then everything is taken from them. Take me! Take me! Take you where? But nobody will ask this question anymore. 21. Whom will he buy today? Someone who steals even the children of eagles? Someone who will also clean you out. He'll also trade you an eye for an eye. Did you already look at the new pictures of him? No, he won't do that. He won't buy himself anymore. He's already got him. Don't exaggerate like that. It's so typical of you. On the contrary, in return, he will give everything. He doesn't have to do that. He'll let you have it. Less than he's got. I just don't know what and how much. These folks ally themselves with others. There's bonding and brotherhooding. The sisters left, finally. New bonds are in the making. Now all of them are one uniquely unified people that made itself big on its own so that His Majesty has a landing field and won't fly off the handle. And of course, this Lord and Master had to also enlarge the ground under him considerably to make room for all the buckets that must be kicked. No one shall sleep, all dead. Okay. His reach must also be extended so that the land be finally big enough for all those who want it more comfortable and bigger. And they also made it bigger so that there is room for all of them, so that all of them have room where the king already is, where even the king goes on foot because he doesn't want to go there at all and never gets there anyway. High praise for his consideration of us. We pass it on. He deserves it, so that all of them, without mooing, can be led to the slaughterhouse, where animals exhale with a roar, but not in anymore. Yes, some who could neither hear nor see and didn't know what hit them have instead an understanding of cattle and the best way to kill it, so that it would shut up and let us get some rest before the eternal rest. 22. Simply by being there, they do it. They could do it. What? No idea. Oh, yes, sure. That's what it was. Make the land bigger. Make it as big as it's always been. You just didn't notice back then. So do it. Finally, make it bigger. At least as big as it once has been. It's just that we didn't know it then. So get going. At least as big, and that's how it must be once again, so that we too can finally see it. You have resisted sleep for so long. Now the king has sung you to sleep. He finally got you to see the light, the blue light on this ride of the hospital, also for himself, to the house of houses, also for himself, but only shortly, whatever. This terrible time has ended now. He's back in the arena. The robbing he'll do himself this time, in person. We, however, are standing there and tolerate it. The roar to it, no idea. But I'll be there faster than you, leading the way to serve you as the Führer. Yes, to serve. That's what it's called now, since the servants are finally silent. No more chance for them. Well, I can't see any. Remember, the catcher gets caught, and he, the hunter, was struck by hunter's luck. What do we say to it? We say, whatsoever is won with guile and against the law cannot endure. Helpers he won't find either. Say what? And what about his shadow? He's already getting bigger. A man who will come, the man of the future, shortly before his arrival, who will replace him better than he has ever been. A right hand that is given to the king, while the left hand, which knows exactly what it's doing, already clasps the land. Which means with a money clip? You surely cannot overlook him. He knows the folk better than himself, this Führer of the shadows, who will come to take away the rest of her sins. He already carries his wished bold face in front of him. Okay, but what is thrown here is quite weird. It is a man, not his shadow. The shadow throws the people. I can't believe it. A talking shadow, giant sized? I can't imagine it. I must be wrong. Well, let's hope so. Well, no one hears it anyway. Let's stop it, so that he can rule in peace and quiet, so that he can get to work undisturbed, so that he can get down to business, so that he finally gets to sit down. He's always here, the future one. He's waiting already in the ruler's body, that he can separate from the latter and rule himself. The ruler won't stay. No ruler stays. It would mean, after all, that he stayed behind, stayed back. No, we don't want that. He stays here with us, unimpeded. The ruler and his shadow stay. It makes no difference who is in front and who's behind. Done. Finished. He assures us he won't die before at least 4 years. Then his shadow can take over. He can practice in the meantime. He won't rest until all the money will be directed to those who want to marry it. He's the bride's father of the money and its bridegroom at the same time. The bride, he's not. That would go too far. He's also his dowry. This righteous man has earned it. 23. The king will fix everything. Off with the crown of thorns. He doesn't need it anymore, nor the band-aid on the ear, so big. They could also see it in the back rows and box their own ears to get ready for the field of the battle for the field. This band-aid he doesn't need now anymore. It was a small crumb of consolation. He doesn't need it anymore. He doesn't need consolation. He's the consolation for the ravaged land. He rushes sprightly to the honor-crowning open battle in front of the camera. It's over. He won. He wants to talk instantly with his shadow now, but that one already does not answer him. But all along the line he paces off, he doesn't need answers. He is sufficient. He's not insufficient, but we certainly have enough of him. His mouth is equipped with golden lock that is supposed to placate us. No chance to ever get into it, into the ruler's body. The chips are in place, the followers put in their places. The followers are plain, but they count. Each one of their small votes counted. The fire is burning now. It has been burning for a long time. Nothing changed. No one walked across the water. It has been decided. That's all. It's over. The eagles pack up their picnic bags and fly away with sad glances at the empty nest. Well, they'll just build a new one. Somebody will guard it, and that will also be he. 24. It was all for nothing, but not for free. The battle over the hill, the battle on the hill, the shining light of the deity, everything vanished. The golden house gone, the disgrace of having won and still lost, vanished. Everything gone, and then this, won again. I don't believe it. Who can stand it? Something like that. It's getting boring and always the same, winning, always the same. The usual suspects are always winning. That's no fun. The winner is always he, and if, for once, he doesn't win, then he's the tempting prophet that's worth fighting for. 25. The king's victory, happy shout, reaches all of us in sound and vision. Just a moment, we're coming. We're marching west. Where, may I ask, is it? Excuse me, aren't all of us the west? The run of the believers will fill the breaches in this shallow earth, where there hasn't been life in a long time, in meadows, in highways. What are you standing around doing nothing, you vultures? And you, eagles, what about you? Break is over. Break-ins are on. Everything that has been locked, the last bastions, burn them down. Now everything goes, shameless and yet vulnerable. The country's sun freezes in place, exhausted from their rushed runs over the all too leisurely mowed meadows, though no longer green valleys. The last ones are already getting up again. The front lines will also have their turn. Up ahead there, that shadow, he'll also have his turn. The lines are marching on. The luscious pastures, the busy meadows aren't lazy either, but the grim cuts will get them soon. There is a reaper. Yes, but we don't see him. Where is he? He's called Death. Oh, yes, the sons too. They are also into it and in for it. They are running through the cities, which are also tired from everything that is done to them every day, let alone during the night. But no one must sleep. They can be tired. Let them be tired and inattentive too. A God will think for them, but they must not sleep. Not yet. The God will put in a tree. He will put on all of them, and if he can't do it, he will pass on the garden to even stronger reapers behind it. Now, I will only briefly tell of what went on. And Isafi could really do that. At my age, one loves the spare word. I don't have room for more anymore. That case he can close, the Savior, the Father. Listen to him only. Listen only to him. Don't listen to me. You're supposed to listen to him. And warm regards. In the future, be as loyally concerned about me as you have been up until now. I need it. I'm all alone. 26. Still tired from the fast run? Abandoned by courage and strength? then they might as well follow him. There is no one else around. At the seashore, the people who are like the sea, boundless these days, there are no borders for them. They are everything. They are everybody. They are totally drained, but not drowned. They can play everyone else too. The eagles too. For all I care, the few that still can fly, chased by the majority who roam through the woods with their guns. Those aren't heard of. The shooting majority is not heard of. You'll hear from them very soon. You're gonna hear from us, they say. The majority is often heard of and will be often heard of, but no one listens. He always was the winner. That's somehow monotonous, don't you think so? Those who saw it themselves don't even listen anymore. They already know it. They remember past strives, but are happy to let go of what's past to wherever it wants, like the shadow, its person, although all of them are distressed that now no one, besides their neighbors, wants to even argue with them. Will this speech protect? Will they be protected from this powerful speaker? No. This speech will not protect them. They don't need any protection anyway. Now all of them are for the ruler, no matter what he says. Exactly. It is as I prophesied. So there is one walking along the ocean shore who had forsworn the rage against the shepherds of nations, but he does not give a damn about those peoples, I swear. Except for this one. Shouting horrifically, it attracts its ruler's attention always anew, whose wound has stopped hurting long ago. They are many. They are almost everybody, the girded themselves with their own strength, the pants slip down nonetheless. One can already see their frightful balls. Sorting and ordering, they walk through the lines of warriors who they are themselves. They stand erect, they arm for the final battle, the end camp. The date is fixed already, they were told. Preliminary battles no longer necessary. Against whom, huh? For fight for what? When the main battle has already been won before the forefight started? Excuse me, against whom was the main battle? You don't have to remember it. That one's no longer necessary. That new opponent wouldn't have been necessary. Oh, woman, give me a break. Her we let pass together with her speeches which don't reach us. No chariot needs to be prepared, no muscle tensed, no armor reached for, rage no longer produced, nor strength. Now we produce the fight. A new product we offer, but everyone knows from at home, just in somewhat different forms, a worse form. It won't even get started. It won't win anyway. And then we export it, we export the fight, just the rage, until it wraps the land in its flowered cover so that no one will look underneath anymore for what's there. Thinking it is peace that's there, because peace can't keep itself. It must be kept, but not under wraps. It must be supported so that it won't fall at the last moment. It really sucks that we should have to keep this kind of thing too. 27. Hurry to the King of Shadows until you become shadows too, all of you. The new big army, just shadows who burn themselves into the walls of buildings, whole cities vaporize. The people are gone now, all gone. They're available only in gold and optionally set with precious stones, but not for everyone. Who could still afford people at this inflation rate? Finally, we now produce shadows only in our shadow factories. Back to the very last line, they shall fight the shadows, yes, but in the front too. Yes, please. Firstly, they should fight against the sun, without which, though, they wouldn't exist. But it's so hot. Every day, that heat. Fighting for every single vote, no longer necessary. He's got them all already, those he needed, even more than needed. This is clear as daylight. Now we know it. The protector of the dry land, but also of the oceans. He won. So many words, just outcome. We do share everything. We divide also the votes, and then we unite them again. We cast the lots. Those who had no destiny are creating it now for themselves. The lot spoke. All of us won, it says. We will be told our win. We are still waiting for the voice to sound our vote. To each his own, to each her own. No more theirs there. Right on time for the closing date, a thundering voice not of his world. We've never heard anything like it. We are all done, finished, finally. All of us. Well done. Up for in and over. Over the rainbow. That's enough. No need for more. Everyone hears it, the voice, even before there can be a hearing of the king. Everyone hears him and his voice, which he always carries with him, the king of shadows, the shadow of the king, the dark of the dark night, the far heavens, where the king will soon be, luckily not yet, but soon. The shadow waits patiently. He's got only one weird vice, but that's a laugh. He saved himself, but no one else. That cloud that slid in front of the sun, that election that went down a slippery slope against the king. This won't happen to us again, because this time he will win. Finally, this time has come. Springtime for the big fart. Yes, this air still belongs to us and what we don't have. He will let us have it. The shadow is thrilled. He's made of air after all. He'll heal himself in no time. Want to bet? Our balls are tough, but not tough enough. The horse chews on the bit. The flakes fly. It is foam. The horse doesn't have it on its from talking. He does. His bit flickers in the spotlight. He thinks we went out already, but we are still here. How? He will assign us his signature duties. He will order us whom we should order what? How? He will take care of it. He won't care about us, but he will take care of something. He has not announced yet. He doesn't have to. Not yet, but soon. So you can take it to the bank. By the way, how is he doing anyway? Does he have a new message for us? Does that man take us seriously after all? Did the near-death experience change him in any way? Might this victory not be as radiant as it could be? We polish and polish. What don't we know yet? What does not yet shine through the glass, which is as clear as it is invisible? And yet, it is here. What will we still find out? We find ourselves in a battle of the good against the bad. It depends which side you're on. Breathing heavily, the fighters lean against their weapons. The wounds are still hurting, but it was for the cause. It paid off. Now others get paid and more others are paying. And still more others are counting. Yet again, others are down for the count. For him, they kept counting. All doubts have been removed. At long last, the King of Men arrived in the hall, the sight of the congregation. Who got hit? Something's ringing in our ears. Did the Son of Man leave and returned as king? Did the shadow get back in his place? He mightily overrated himself. Exactly. Yes, this is exactly what happened. But we don't even know yet who won. But now we know. Do we act or hesitate? He wouldn't hesitate at all. We submit ourselves to him. One of our delegations has to vomit. Now the next one. The serpents of people whined several times around the building. Oh, this fight will tear us apart. We tear up our breasts, that is, those who have them. The others just do something else. There is enough around. Who pours water on us to extinguish us? What does this man of God say? We are on fire. We are dying to know. Who pours water on to extinguish us? What does this man of God say? We're on fire. We're dying to know. All of us together have the burning earth and a high burning mountain covered with burning trees. No, not high, just a hill we climb, are climbing again and again with our backpacks behind and our rage up front and the weapon more to the side. We've been up there many times. Meanwhile, we can find the way there in our sleep. Now only our Lord and Master still has to come. Ah, we see. He has arrived. He's here. Now, he's here. He never was away, but now he's here all the way for us. Welcome. Who are you? The best of immortals, who calls us? Who asks us? He does not have to. Fire, we say, yes, until we've come to our senses. We just keep saying, still on fire. Yes.
So, hello and welcome everybody here at the Siegel Theater Center, the Cardiac Center CUNY, in collaboration with the Vienna Burgtheater and the Vienna Festspiele, and we welcome again back Milo Rau. Milo, how are you? Can you hear us? And where
Hi,
are you?
hi. I'm here in North Iraq. I can hear you very well, Frank. Thanks for making this possible. And yeah, so I think we are now waiting for Gitta Honegger too, the wonderful translator. It's the first time that I heard the text fully read in English. So it's yes, I think she joins.
Yeah.
Cool.
So how come you are in Iraq, Mosul, Milo?
I'm working together with Ursina Lardi, the actress who just read the text about the new play called The Seer. So it's about a war photographer working in North Iraq and in other parts of the world and coming back to Mosul to work together with another actor about this play. So it's a kind of a circular story, and we are exactly in this point in the research and in the castings and in the work together too, that we come back to Mosul after we were here in November. And as you know, I was here many times in the last years.
Fantastic. Yeah. So welcome Gitta Honegger, the
Gita, hi.
Hi,
translator
nice to meet you.
of
Nice
Elfriede
to meet
Jelinek
you. Yes.
over decades. What an impressive text, so dense, a kind of a dark star material. Gita, before we come to the translation and your work, let's ask Milo Rau some questions. Milo, where does this fit in your project Resistance Now? Why Jelinek?
Yeah, you know, it started quite much with Elfriede Jelinek. You could say that we started this resistance now to somehow together, thanks to the FPÖ, the Freedom Party of Austria. I think it was in last beginning of September when they won the elections in Austria that we wrote the letter together to not vote for the FPÖ. So it was like some weeks before the elections, because we were quite impressed by the silence of the whole intellectual scene. So we decided together with the team of Burgtheater to write this text. And this was somehow together with other things that happened in Slovakia. For example, at that time, the director of the National Theatre was dismissed. The beginning of this campaign. And I think we were at the Siegel Center, even in New York. We went to different countries in Europe to talk and to connect. And we were, I think, the first time in New York at the Siegel Center in last September. And as you know, I mean, today it's the day of the beginning of the second term of Donald Trump. And at the same time in Austria, what is happening? We have a coalition, or we wait. I mean, they started working on the coalition of the center party, the ÖVP, the Conservative Party, and the extreme right-wing party, the FPÖ. So the impossible happened. You could say that we are going straight towards a situation that we know from Russia, and we know from, of course, Hungary, and we know from Slovakia. And this happens now in Austria too. So in the first country that is really from middle, or you could say Western Europe. And yeah, it's an incredible day today.
Mm-hmm. How is your collaboration with Elfriede Jelinek? You did a play of us. You're going also to open at the Burgtheater for the Festspiele. Tell us a bit how you collaborate.
So for the Vienna festival, we worked together on a play that was blocked since, I think, Gitta, you know it even better, perhaps since '85. I think Burgtheater was blocked by Elfriede. And I remember when I came to Austria, I met her, and we had this idea to finally stage it. It's a play about opportunism, about the first fascism in Austria, so about the Burgtheater, so the biggest theater in continental Europe. And when the Nazis arrive in Austria, they immediately connect and become friends of Adolf Hitler. So what is exactly happening now again, the second time? So we said, okay, why not staging finally this play where it should be staged in the Burgtheater? So that's how we started to work together. And I think, Gitta, correct me if I'm wrong, we also connected some months ago, and I think only a week ago you told me, Milo, I finished the translation of Elfriede's newest play, of The Second Coming. Why would we not read it on the inauguration day? And I said, yes, let's make it happen. And then I came to you, Frank, and to some other people, and that's what happened today.
Mm-hmm. Incredible. The Free Republic of Vienna idea is somehow also connected. Tell us a little bit.
You know, I think that in this very moment, I don't know the situation in the US exactly, but in Europe, you have the impression that the civic society has to take back the power, because parliamentary democracy is turning slowly, you could say, into something that you could call a dictatorship of majority, even if it's not the majority, of course, but on a kind of a installation of or a deconstruction of the liberal democracy, what is happening in more and more countries in Europe. And that's why we created this Free Republic of Vienna, to say we, the city of Vienna, with a very long tradition of democracy, of social democracy, to be concrete, we take the power back. We create our own Council of the People. We create our own declaration, our own state somehow. And even if it's of course an artificial state, it becomes more and more functional these days. And I think that's what you can see a bit somewhere, a bit everywhere in different countries in Europe, that more and more, you could say, independent networks of the civic society try to counterbalance the authoritarian shift that we are living now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Vienna has been voted, I think, many times as most livable city on planet Earth, the most interesting one, that somehow is a social agenda for housing, transportation, quality of living, and we are in a moment where things are up in the air, and I think this is quite a remarkable initiative for someone who runs the Vienna Festival, most probably the largest European theater festival, and to take such a stand. We'll come back to that later. Gitta, first of all, congratulations on finishing the translation. I can only imagine how hard it is to like going in a coal mine or diamond mine under the earth and finding the right words. Forest for this translation. What was complicated?
Everything. First of all, though, I have to thank you to how you could do the split screen reading in that short a time. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And I have to still get over Nicole's performance. I mean, it was spine-curdling because I listened before a little bit to the inauguration, and Elfriede just predicted it all. All kinds of priests were talking. And it was such a overstated performance. And Elfriede saw all this. And there was this beautiful woman now sitting there and just reading this text, and you could follow it. So that was really, thank you so much. It was just unbelievable that it happened. It was a gift to watch Nicole. I mean, there's no question how she did that. Congratulations and thank you. What was the most difficult? Well, in a way, it was fun because you could put it in an American context and you could play. I could do a little bit of the Simon and Garfunkel, and I could use a couple of things. And Elfriede also lets me add a couple of things. And usually in American, it gets almost a little more vulgar than maybe it's because I live here and I see the language, but that's fun to play with her. And she gives you a lot of freedom and we work together very well. So, and I also think I have worked with her now long enough. I mean, this is since she wrote the Heidegger, the Totenauberg. So I think I hear her voice when she says so beautifully at the end of her introduction that it's like a harp and she can hear, sadly, she can hear it. But I think I get it, I think. And then, well, that's all. Of course, you have to do a lot of research, but then you have to get away with it. And I have to hear her too. Then I hear her like that harp. So it's a really very strong experience to do that, to work with her. And we have a lot of fun while we do that too, because people always think she's so, anytime there's a German text, Americans think that has to be very serious and a lot of Weltschmerz. But I mean, she really knows, her humor is great.
And you know, Gitta, what I find so impressive with your translation is that it's the first time, and I think for you too, Frank, we all expected that the German version would be much longer than the English one, but you brought in really all complexities of the text of Elfriede, you know? And
Oh,
I
thank
think
you that you, yeah, thank you.
because I was listening to the German one and following the English one, and sometimes vice versa in the last 70 minutes. And yeah, thank you to Ursina, to you, to Nicole. That it was completely incredible to me. I never had this kind of parallel reading of a text in two languages, and you could even hear how they responded one to the other. You know, so it was great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Gitta, you're also the translator of Thomas Bernhard, another great Austrian writer with complex images and models for the world on stage. How does Elfriede Jelinek fit in contemporary writing in Europe, in Austria, and what are the differences? What makes her special?
Her approach to language, her critical approach to language, how she cuts it down, and how she finds her own language and poetry, and her critical view and how fast she cuts into the world and responds to it, and no sentimentality.
And she's so extreme. I mean, when I reread Burgtheater, I mean, a play she wrote in the 80s, again, as you say, I mean, perhaps it's by accident because we have this second coming worldwide of a new populism of the right, of the extreme right. But still, I mean, this link that she made between fascism and new rise of the new right, for a long time, it felt a bit too extreme, too scandalous, you know? And now it feels just right and prophetic.
It's realistic.
Yes, it became realistic.
Yeah.
Milo, a question to you. I mean, it is a play. It is inside a theater, and plays in a way playful, but how serious is the situation where we are in now in Europe and in North America? Um, what is your thought? What are your thoughts as an artist, a working artist, a significant one, an influential one?
You know, Frank, I mean, just considering the moment we are in, that somebody who is perceived as criminal, as crazy, as unelectable, becomes president of the biggest state of this planet for the second time. I mean, that is the answer to everything. That is really the answer to everything. And we have the same. And I mean, Putin writes beautiful SMS to Donald Trump, telling him that he's so happy that he came into power. And we have the same networking of the extreme right between Putin and the right wing in Austria and Orban, and of course uh, the big industry. And I think it's like we are on the I think we are on the last chapter of the history of the 20th century, of what we expected all after 89 to become reality, like a global liberal democracy for everybody. I think this is going to an end now. And it already seems like a kind of a naive and melancholic dream from the past. And even the question, as I say, as Gitta, I mean, you told it very nice, and it's even in the text of Elfriede. The answer is there. What were we still asking? Am I alone? And it's so sad when the seer says, "I feel alone. I feel so alone,"
Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
And I think that's such an important feeling. It brings me back to your question: why create the Free Republic of Vienna? Why connect all these people in civic society who don't find anymore their place in this kind of nationalistic shift all over the world? And I think that's the moment where we are in, and we have really to face it. And the reason why we did this lecture today is that this text is so, you said, realistic. You could call it prophetic, but it's
Yeah,
also an extreme text in its negativity, in its like, let's face it, you know, he will leave us up to destroy us. I mean, why did we vote for it? I mean, it's really, it's like, when will we wake up? What do we need to see more and to understand more? And that's what this text is about.
Gita, I remember from the play we did at the Siegel, I think we did the world premiere reading of the Burger King, the image of also Trump being alone in the White House, not being able to go to sleep in a bathrobe, and the same of Elfriede Jelinek, who couldn't go to sleep in Vienna in the evenings, in the nights, because she just could not understand how that election went. What is Elfriede's? Is it an obsession? Is it? Does he stand for something in her work that materializes so clearly what her values are, what her morals are, what the ethics are? Where comes? Why does she see him as the main protagonist?
Why she sees Trump as the main protagonist?
The second coming in this kind of Milo's idea of global populism.
Well, we all come, I mean, Elfriede and I don't want to identify with her, but we both are children of the Holocaust. We are survivors. I mean, we are in Austria. And so we share that passion. I can't be articulate about it. It's just very important to me to share with her what I know about that country and why I left when I was 18. And I was not Jewish, but I could not, when I grew up, take it anymore. The silence, and whatever Elfriede writes hits me personally very, very deeply because I understand that world. And that language gives me goosebumps because I grew up with it. And the way she twists it and all the layers that are underneath. And we sometimes talk, Elfriede and I, that it's most probably you do have to know, you have to be native via Austrian or Viennese to really get all through all the layers. You're a little bit of exception, Milo, because you're an Alpine person. So we have this in common. People in the mountains
I'm
think different.
That's perhaps true. At the same time, really listening to your English translation, and you turn it in a way, but you stayed also very close to what how she's writing. I think you can translate it very well. And then I was checking a bit, I mean, you know, Elfriede's plays were not so much staged in the US. And
No.
this is kind of, I mean, really linked to this language that is perceived as complex, to this dramaturgy that is
Yeah.
a non-dramaturgy somehow, to this very philosophical, poetical approach to what you could call theater, you know, this kind of super, super avant-garde style that she has since the 80s. And still it's difficult. Her early plays are difficult, her new plays are difficult. It's like, but when you read it loudly, you
Yeah.
immediately
Yeah.
understand what exactly she means. And it doesn't work in English too. And I think you should stage much more Jelinek in the US.
Well,
I
yeah,
mean,
we need the
it's the
money
truth.
of the Vienna Festival. You know?
To do
No,
it. Okay.
um,
Then I know
I,
in what to invest.
but I think in the Anglo world, it's both in England and in America, and it is also with Thomas Bernhard. They do not like when things are not resolved. They want to have an answer in the theater, and they want it sentimental. They want to be able to feel it. Now, I feel Elfriede because I grew up in that world, but that's very hard as a real cultural thing about it.
Yeah,
But
but I
then on
think,
the
you
other
know,
hand, there are people who do not, actors do get her when they
yeah,
just trust the language.
yeah. I think Nicole, she really dived into the English version you did, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, I was just
And
really
you
moved
could
by it.
really, yeah, and you could feel it that it works also. And she put it in an approach that you could call a bit American, you know?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
how she put things, and
yep.
it can work under this perspective. It can work. I think it just has to be tried out.
I
Uh,
know, but so we need you. You know, we have Burgtheater ahead of us.
yeah.
There's big excitement now how to approach the layers of course there is. And so we'll see. We'll continue to work and see what happens. I'm glad now that I'm in personal touch with you because then I can find out where what your world is, what the smell is in there in that Herbiger clan and how you are dealing with it. So
Yes, we
we
will
will
find
see
out.
how that works.
Mhm.
Yes,
You
I
know,
can't wait for it.
Mhm.
question, Milo touched on it. I think the English translation always was 4 minutes longer. It's highly unusual. Text often are a quarter, a fifth
Yeah.
shorter. And you said I also could add some things. This is highly unusual translation work or translating. Tell us a bit about that.
Or it's just little things like amen to that, or she lets me say the big fart, and then I could add a few. It's in the cut version, in the uncut version, the name she has for Musk, the Weltenräumer, and that's a wonderful challenge to translate that. So yeah,
Incredible. The idea of translation is so important in the way Milo translates it on the stage, and also the importance of taking a text as the text and not staying in the way of it. I think Heiner Müller often said, you know, what he didn't like with actors that they wear text as if they are Gucci products or look how great I read it, that the text
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
shines through, and it did with Nicole, and I'm sure also with Ursina. They're two brilliant actors.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely brilliant. You know what we do with Burgtheater? We make one big public reading in the Burgtheater on the 8th of May, on the day of the end of the Second World War.
I
So we
know,
start
yeah,
with this. We just read the whole text. We don't stream it, perhaps we stream it, but it's really a live event for 1,500 people. And after we did this, we make a second version, which will treat much more and in a much more, let's say, complex way about what happened after, what happens now, what does this text mean? What does it mean, for example, for the clan you
oh,
call? So
yeah,
there will be a lot of additional layers. Of course, the play will be there again, but I think there are two ways of kind of touching a text, because you asked me about
yeah, yeah,
what way is my world build up, and I think there's one way that I like a lot is more or less the reading, because the text says everything.
yeah.
Very often I go to theater, you know, I'm not against Chekhov, I'm against acting out Chekhov. You know what I mean?
I
Because
know exactly what you mean. Yeah,
when I read Chekhov at home, I love it. It's complex. And then I go there and they kind of try to bring a story in it which is not there. I am sorry for it. And I think we should divide these two movements sometime. We should be strong enough to say, okay, perhaps we need two attempts to a text, you know? Because
Yeah.
it's not wrong to incorporate Chekhov. You can do that, but perhaps it's not interesting at a certain moment. And I think, you know, Frank, I think that's exactly what it is about. A text tells you something that this text tells you out of everything, I would say. You can be touched emotionally, you can be touched philosophically, for example, of the text. You don't need to know that it's written about Trump, you know? But then, of course, you need to know. And these are two ways of looking at it. And it's super difficult, I think, when staging it, but when talking about it, or translating it like Gitta does, to kind of bring these two parallel worlds, one which is completely disconnected and the other one who is completely connected. Because the crazy thing with Elfriede is that she writes texts that are hyper political in the direct way and that are hyper unpolitical or poetical in the most direct way too, and always in the same moment. And that's the difficult thing with her aesthetics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, a question for you, we are coming slowly to an end. What role does theater play now in the time of the TikToks, in the time of, you know, the digital media, of the television, of this overwhelming, massive tsunami also of misinformation? So many people give up, so people don't watch news anymore, don't read about it. But what do you think, what as theater has to do, what works?
You're asking me? Or...
Milo, yeah.
I think both of us, because I'm very interested in your answer, Gitta. I think for me, the more the world gets theatrical or deconcentrated somehow theatrical in a negative way, so that there is disguise, etc., the more theater as a school of concentration, of listening, of being there, of taking an hour to understand what happens with us, the people, das Volk, you know? So when do we take the time? You are talking about the social media, etc., where you are very fast moving in between many different informations and many different circles of concentration. And theater kind of obliges you to go into a room, to listen, to be there, and possibly to understand more about yourself. And you feel when you were in a good theater play, because there are a lot of theater plays that are deeply affected by social media, that are full of horror vacui, that try to be faster than social media. It's impossible. But if you go into this concentration, this collective concentration, which is called, this ritual, which is called theater, you feel washed. And I think that's for this moment, the most important thing that you can do. Of course, on political level, you can talk about how this institution have to move now and how they can actually survive because they are closed everywhere in Europe. But this is a completely different situation, I think, different discussion.
For me, touch. You're touching. It's physical. It's real. It's you can smell. I mean, it's all your senses are together, and that to me is what theater does. What online cannot do. And you feel the vibrations, and I mean, it's just real. It's just touchable, which we need, I think, in this world because people are forgetting how to talk to each other. We're afraid to do that.
Yeah, incredible. We are coming to an end, Milo. I know you had an overnight, a very long flight. You just got to Iraq, where you create the film school after the Orstaya, the great work you did there. Recommend everybody to go and see the film. Also, all your documentaries you so brilliantly place next to your theater work, the record of it, the collection of memories which you put into a form, and now you are back there. I also encourage everybody to see the documentary about Elfriede Jelinek. We showed it on the film festival.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful work. Can you, the director's name and the title?
Claudia Müller, Language Unleashed.
Incredibly moving, touching, but that also helps understand better more of her work. And also, I would like to encourage everybody to follow the work of Milo as the Vienna Festspiele. It's an important
Festwochen, Vienna Festival, Wiener Festival.
Oh, another one I have to immediately know. Something comes into my head. You said it is an American translation. I mean, it's a similar thing, like Festwochen and Festspiele. And I was very thankful for that.
It's an idea how a theater artist moves in a city. What influence can it have? What statements can it do? Theater is a model, and what we show in a space is important, what it stands for. And I think this is the way Milo interprets his work, the work of theater, the place of theater in a polis, in a metropolis, which also Vienna is. So I really encourage everybody to follow this work, maybe also travel there, and also, you know, go back to his Ghent work. And Milo, I think we can say it. We are trying to get you to come to the Siegel Festival Down to Earth, the first week in September. After Labor Day, we are creating a public arts festival in public spaces on the streets and in the parks of New York, because we don't have the money at the moment also for the theaters. But you will come to us, and maybe we can stage a reading. What do you think?
Would be nice. Let's do that. Let's do that, Frank.
Yeah. And
Together
the conference,
with you, of course.
yeah, and the conference.
And a little Resistance Now chapter, let's say, yes.
Yeah, Resistance Now. Maybe we create the Free Republic of New York or something and join. It's a very serious event, and I hope you can come. It's a beginning also to interpret the role of theater in a big city differently, in the city of New York. So your work is so inspirational, and it has touched us and changed us. And also, Gitta, thank you for being the medium, the listener, you know, to the words of the seer, of someone like Elfriede, who is like a canary bird or like a seismograph. And she says, I hear things. And she does hear things. And what she hears and what she tells us about what she is important. And it is very, very serious. And we will know it in 10, 20, 30, 50 years, exactly what it meant. Now we are in the moment of it. But I think, as always, there are theater artists who write about the past, artists who are in the present, but also some great artists anticipate the future.
Who write about the future, yes.
Milo, any last words?
No, thank you so much to make it happen. I mean, for me, the same. A week ago, I wouldn't have thought that we will sit here together after a double reading, incredibly well made by Rosina and Nicole, and such a beautiful translation. So and I did it on, as you say, traveling to Iraq, and I'm very happy that I could do it here in this room. And you know, it just happened. I have to rewatch it because I was switching all the time. I have to rewatch the streams.
Great. And Gitta, thank you for inspiring us, for doing it, pushing that, and being such a good friend of the Siegel Center also. And I can't wait till we collaborate again and together. So thanks to HowlRound for also on such a short notice saying, okay, yes, a double parallel screening, and then we switch around. We can make it work. So Vijay, and especially Thea, thank you. And especially, of course, thanks to the viewers who took time out of their lives to be with us. I think from over 20, 30, 40 countries, people are with us. And we need good theater, we need good work, but we also need good audience, an audience to whom it means something. Ultimately, theater is not for theater makers.
Yeah.
It's for the community. It's for people to listen to reflect, and perhaps, you know, also change. Yeah, Gitta?
Just we should have a wave to Elfriede, who is watching this.
Good.
Totally.
I want to thank her.
Oh my God. So Elfriede, thank you. And
she's at the basis of all this, huh?
Pardon me?
She's at the basis of all this, of the whole evening.
Yes, as it should be. We all forget that the word playwright comes from wrestling, like it's wrought, it's metal, hammer, but it's not from being right or writing. It's the idea of wrestling, like the angels wrestling with dark side. That's what she does, and also Gitta, what you did, and Milo. So thank you all, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Frank. Gitta, thank you so much. Nicole,
goodbye,
Rosina, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Chin for helping us. Bye-bye.